So this is Microsoft talking about how they're going to spy on you by screenshotting everything that you do.
Apple's done a fantastic job of really innovating on, on the Mac. We are going to outperform them.
So you feel like you've got Apple now?
We have a computer for people who love Windows that they can be very, very proud of.
Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella is very excited about his new Windows computers because they're not just any Windows computers.
Can we call them AI pewters?
No, I like Copilot Plus PCs.
Yes, these Copilot Plus PCs, coming from Microsoft itself and others like Lenovo and Dell, have been completely...
They're just trying to get people to buy this overpriced shit like Apple does. But the reason why they can't compete with Apple is because consumers perceive Apple as a luxury product and they don't see it the same way with like Microsoft. Yeah, it's the branding. Like that's the problem is like, for example, like the Surface was like, it was a good product, but that people wanted the iPad because the iPad was the iPad and it was from Apple.
Re-engineered for
AI as a new input.
But what even is an AI computer? Yeah. Microsoft's latest have new chips and AI software that can do some cool tricks without even needing to connect to the internet. After talking to Nadella and seeing the new Surface devices in action, I'll say it looks pretty darn promising.
Here's the interesting thing, right? Which is if you sort of take all of what we've been talking about with AI, it all came about because of abundance of compute, all primarily in the cloud, right? So that's what created the GPT-4, for example, which essentially changed the world. Now, What happened in the cloud is going to come to the edge. And the edge that first needs to be reinvented before we talk about everything else is the PC. And so that's sort of what I think of as the AI PC or the Copilot Plus PCs.
Yeah.
Okay, translation for non-computer scientists. ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, those other generative AI tools you've been using, the processing happens in the cloud, aka some data center. Now...
Yeah, the cloud is just the servers, But the cloud sounds like, because if you're trying to explain this to a boomer, the cloud, it's like, who's in the clouds? Well, God's in the clouds. That's where God is. So it sounds way better.
Some AI processing will happen right on your computer, what is called edge computing. To do this, Microsoft had to add a new chip component.
Pretend I'm not a computer nerd. What is an NPU?
It's a neural processing unit. If you want to build any AI application, you have to have an accelerator, just like we have in the cloud, to be able to run these matrix math multiplications fast in order to drive AI features. And that's what the NPU does.
The NPU joins the CPU and the GPU in the Copilot Plus PCs. But here's the really exciting thing.
Qualcomm's got a new processor, which we've optimized.
Great. Another thing that now is $900 for the PC. Right. Just what we needed. Another $900 component. Awesome. Thank you, Microsoft.
Windows 4. The battery life, I've been using it now. It's 22 hours of continuous video playback.
These Qualcomm Snapdragon X series chips are based on ARM architecture. And here's another translation. These energy-efficient chips are more like the ones in your smartphone than the Intel chips in your Windows laptop.
Got it.
A few years ago, Apple transitioned all its Macs from Intel chips
to our own Apple Silicon.
Those chips are based on ARM, and it made MacBooks really awesome.
We finally feel we have a very competitive product between Surface Pro and the Surface laptops. We have essentially the best specs when it comes to ARM-based silicon and performance or the NPU performance.
I feel like there's been a lot of instances where Microsoft has had the best performance, but they still lose in the market. I think that really, they need to work on their brand. Like Apple has a much more, narrow brand. And I think that gives them a lot more control over the messaging for their brand. Whereas Microsoft doesn't really have that as much. If I want to think about, what is really a Microsoft product, I don't really like Windows, right? That's about it. But, there's probably a lot of other things that are Microsoft products that you just don't really even think of.
Microsoft says the new Surfaces are
Xbox,
58% faster than the MacBook Air with M3 and has 20% longer battery life. Intel will make Copilot PCs, but this is a move away from that once tight relationship.
Which system do you use?
I use a Surface laptop.
Have you heard the fan go on?
No.
See, this is what I'm really hoping for. A Windows PC that doesn't sound like it's going to outer space.
Yeah.
You think we've
you
got
have it. You got it.
Okay, but what new AI powers does the NPU unlock in Windows?
One of the dreams we've always had is how do we introduce memory, right? Photographic memory into what you do on the PC. And now we have it. So it's called recall. It's not keyword search, right? It's semantic search over all your history. And it's not just about any document. We can recreate moments from the past, essentially.
Here's how it works. Windows constantly takes
This is the part that people are getting upset about right here. Yeah, this is it.
screenshots of what's on your screen, then uses a generative AI model right on the device, along with the NPU, to process...
This is what fucking NVIDIA does. I think this is how NVIDIA Shadowplay works, too. Do you guys ever have Shadowplay on your computer? I think this is like another version of that.
all that data and make it searchable, even photos. I got to try it out.
Even if it doesn't function even if it doesn't, like, it's not designed to do that, this seems to be the same function that Shadowplay has.
I searched
brown leather bag. It came up in visual search. There's no place on this page that it says brown leather bag. It just knows because it sees this brown leather bag. There could be this reaction from some people that this is pretty creepy. Microsoft is taking screenshots of everything I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's why that you can only do it on the edge, right? So this is like, you have to put two things together. This is my computer. This is...
Well, I'm going to have a hot take here. I don't think this is that big of a deal, because the odds are that it's probably opt-in, and in the instance that it's not, it's obviously bad. But if it's opt-in, then what's the difference between that and your search history on a browser? I'm not understanding the difference. This can literally spy on everything you do. Well, the computer oftentimes creates save states of every data and every point that like every application was in at times in the PC's lifespan. They already do that. Yes. I don't think this is again, maybe a hot take, and I could be uninformed, but this seems to me like Microsoft is branding search history as a new feature. I'm not seeing a lot of innovation here. I'm sorry, like I don't think this isn't new. These are cookies from a fucking website. This is your search history. This is whenever I type, like I go to Google here, right? And it shows, oh, look at this. These are some of the most recent things that I have gone to. I'm not seeing it right now. It's computer wide. Yeah. Type in P. Okay. You guys want to see what I have? I had to check it off stream, to be fair. There you go. That's my most recent searches. Furry chart? Yes, that's from yesterday's stream. Press P. Oh, shut the fuck up.
My recall, and it's all being done locally, right? So that's the promise. So that's one of the reasons why recall works as a magical thing, because...
Bro, I saw Atriox situation. You think I'm going to let that happen?
I can trust it, that it is on my computer.
You can also restrict recall from taking screenshots of certain websites or apps, or turn it off entirely.
And it seems to me this whole next wave of AI computing is going to be built somewhat around trust. If we're going to have AI agents that go out and do things for us, why should people trust Microsoft over another company?
I think we are the...
I feel like, so this is kind of a problem that I have with a lot of this like type of thinking, is that I think that because a lot of people are going to say, oh, I turned it off cap, right? Like it's off cap. But like, if that's the logic, then why wouldn't you just expect this to already be there now? If they're actively lying to you and storing your data without your consent and against your consent already, like, I would assume that they're already doing it. It is, right? Yeah. And so, like, I don't think this is like, this guy's acting like this is some crazy new thing. I'm not seeing it, man. I'm really not. Sorry.
Very early stages of understanding how our relationship with AI agents should be shaped by us primarily, because that's the only way to build trust. If somebody else, this is not a vendor.
And I feel like this is like something Microsoft has done. Like, they did this with like the PC, right? The Mac 2 was like way better than like what Microsoft had at the time. They had this happen with the iPod, and then they bring out the Zune, and it's like, this is the same thing but worse. And I feel like this is just another version. Remember whenever they had like Siri, and then like they brought out Cortana, which was like kind of just a worse version that people didn't really give a shit about as much. Then the iPad came out, and then like Microsoft, oh, this is the Surface. Like, it's just that I feel like a lot of their products are just kind of worse versions or less targeted versions of Apple products. That's just what I think.
Decision. It's a personal, maybe even spiritual
Target
decision
versus Walmart, yeah.
of how we want to. And that's why I don't believe there's just going to be one, right? Because I may have multiple agents that I may want to delegate different types of things to.
There's another AI feature called Co-Creator that runs locally, right on the device.
I've seen this, yeah.
How do we really take good old paint and say, hey, I'm not just painting myself, but I'm able to co-create with an AI.
You put in a text prompt.
This is
Windows XP.
this is stupid. So here, I'm going to give them a bit of advice. Here's the problem with Microsoft Paint. It sucks. That's the problem. So basically, why does it suck? It sucks because the tools that Photoshop has, and even GIMP has, GIMP is like a free version of Photoshop, are just so much infinitely better than Microsoft Paint. The reason why people aren't using Microsoft Paint is because the product is bad. Adding in an AI autocompleter is a cool little gimmick, but it's not really going to make people use use Microsoft Paint more. Like, there's no undo, but there's no layers. Like, there's no like filters that you can add in. Like, you can't, like, after you type text and then like you want to go and edit this text again, you can't do that. You just type right over it. It's just garbage. And this is a new, I think it's like Microsoft 11 or 10. I don't remember which one it is. And it's been like this. There are no dimensions. Yes, this has been garbage forever. So, like, how are you doing this? So you're adding a neural network fucking AI device before you add in layers? What are you doing?
Wallpaper with a big green mountain.
Then start drawing, and a stable diffusion image generation model right on the device starts to generate an image based on your sketch.
I remember that one.
Yes, that's very good.
There's local live translation too. It can translate live.
Layers is there. Right here. Where's this layer? Where is it? It's garbage. It's all the same layer. The system's garbage. Photoshop's 1,000 times better. It's not even close. It's not even close. Like, what are we talking about?
Video calls or in-person conversations from 44 different languages into English. And it's fast.
У вас есть домашнее животное?
And also, by the way, I wanna fully nail this down so any pretend smart people realize they're just pretending. Whenever you use text in Photoshop, it automatically creates a new layer. And you can also, the cursor will automatically detect a click around text to be a selection back onto that original text, which will then allow you to edit it again. Microsoft Paint does not have these options, and it does not have these tools. So the addition of layers is really in name only. They say, oh, well, we have layers. No, you really don't. You just have something that's called layers. And the way Photoshop layers work is more usable and actually gives functionality to it. What they have is basically different layers of shit that you can just put together. There is absolutely no value at all in what they have. It's garbage.
Yeah, I have a dog.
А как зовут вашу собаку?
Browser.
All of this is powered by small language models that are stored on the device. Large language models like ChatGPT or Copilot still run in the cloud. In the coming weeks, Copilot will get OpenAI's latest GPT-4o model.
It's kind of like a new browser, effectively. So it's right there, it sees the screen, it sees the world, it hears you, and so it's kind of like that personal agent that's always there that you want to talk to, you can interrupt it, it can interrupt you.
The new Surfaces will start shipping in June, starting at $9.99. But I had a few more questions about the future.
AI is this new type of way of interacting with computers. Yet here you're releasing a pretty traditional looking type of computer.
You know, think about what we did back in the day when the internet happened. It's sort of like the browser was born on Windows and it went beyond Windows. That's, I think, what's going to happen. That's why I think we want to.
Isn't that bad though, man? Like, because I remember we used to use Windows Explorer and then we started using Firefox and then Chrome. So, like, are you saying that, like, what you think is going to happen is that people are going to use this and then a company is going to create a non-profit free alternative that beats out your trillion-dollar company? Like, I'm not exactly sure what is he trying to say here. Yeah, I'm really confused.
Make sure we build the Copilot Plus PC that's optimized for Copilot. But I fully expect the Copilot to be everywhere. And the innovation of the interface of your personal agent, how I interact with it, how it accesses memories, how it does actions, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be ambient.
Where else could it go?
It'll go on the phone, right? I'll use it on WhatsApp. I'll use it on any other messaging platform. It'll be on speakers everywhere. So in some sense, it'll be anywhere users want to interact with it with different modalities, right? If you take what GPT-0 showed and you combine it with Copilot as the interface, for us, that's the type of magic that we want to bring first to Windows and everywhere else.
What do you think about glasses?
Well, we loved glasses for a long time. In fact, one of the things that we will do with Meta is to take Copilot and really bring it to all of the work that they're doing.
Can we close our eyes together? And we're gonna imagine a future of computing. What is the future that you see?
The future I see is a computer that understands me versus a computer that I have to understand.
Okay. Does it look like this?
It reminds me of XP.
This is what it turned it into.
Oh, wow.
Could this be the wallpaper of the future PC?
It definitely can be. And you have the power to do it, Joanna. You can set your wallpaper on Windows.
Well, I want to leave this with you. And
I actually think the dude gave a great answer. Like, that was actually, like, low-key an S-tier answer.
maybe you can make this the default.
You know, she just like was like, yeah, by the way, you see this picture? Totally ruined it.
In Windows 12.
But yeah, he's played a game.
Hey,
yeah, exactly.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this, you should click here and watch my full interview with Satya Nadella on WSJ.com. It's a good one.
Yeah, I don't really see Windows and Microsoft bringing anything new to market here. I don't see there being anything special or unique for this. And this is a big problem. So, like, this is a really great example. I feel like a great parallel to this is NFTs. And so I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so basically, let me go ahead and just talk about this for a few minutes. So basically, the reason why NFTs didn't pop off is because NFTs had no function that was not already being served by an existing technology. So, for example, the idea of trading concert tickets, this was already something that existed, and its existing functionality was already sufficient enough to where customers and users didn't want to transition to a new type of product to get a perceived increased value. And I think that perceived increase in value is also combined with a decrease in what's perceived as trust, or in terms of NFTs, this is definitely a reduction in trust, but NFTs, it was a reduction in what was considered security, right? Because like somebody steals your stuff, how do you get it back? You have like no recourse for that. So the problem that I see with what they're trying to do with this Copilot Plus is that it creates a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. And this problem has already been solved in the aggregate by 2 or 3 other existing systems. So you already have GPTs that work on their own that you don't need to have with this. And then you also have tools that can, tools that can effectively monitor your progress and like what you do online, such as cookies or browser search history. So what really is this tool bringing to the table that we don't already have access to? You see kind of like what my concern is with this? How is this new? How is this different? This is a great interview, right? Great interview. I'll link you guys the video. It's a great video, but it's a perceived value. It's the integration. But like, where is that integration? Like, give me an example of that. Because this is the problem, is that the way that a user, so this is how you get users to adopt technology. You get people to adopt technology by solving a problem. And I don't think that this technology solves any problems. That's my big concern. Like, for example, being able to do this in Microsoft Paint is very nice and very cute. But who gives a fuck? Really? Who gives a fuck? So it's not out yet. And we'll have to see. It makes parental control better. Imagine AI sending you phone messages every time your child does something potentially suspicious. Yeah, but you could have like a parental control machine that's able to do that already. That's what I'm saying, is that this new technology doesn't solve any problem that existing technology, to the best of my understanding, does not already solve in an aggregate. That's the issue. It's not new. Yeah, let it be more invasive. Yeah, and so like, for example, like the iPhone was truly new. The iPod was pretty much new. And the iPod wasn't even really new. There were MP3 players before the iPod, but the iPod was so much better, and it just completely conquered the market. So I think this is the issue that Microsoft has, is that they're not making a new product. Microsoft is FOMOing? Yeah, I think so. It's more about convenience. But how is that convenience manifested? Because that's what my concern is, right? Because, again, this is the same thing I said with NFTs. People talk about perspective convenience, but how do you get a user to go from... So, like, let me just show you an example, right? So, top 10 web browsers 1 month ago. Okay. So, we're going to go and we're going to look at... the very end, right? So Microsoft Edge has improved, right? They have improved. They've done much better. And you see Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer is basically Microsoft Edge. So Internet Explorer at its lowest was at, I guess this is probably whenever they started doing the swap over. It was at like 2%, right? And then Edge has brought it up to about 5%. And it's now about 5%. And this is also with Edge being the default browser on the most popular operating system in the world by a mile, right? The problem is that people already have Chrome. What does Edge do that Chrome doesn't do? That's the problem. Like, and also, like, what does it do functionally? It's slightly faster. But who's going to notice that? It uses less RAM. This is not something that has value to an average customer. And let me explain why. An average customer doesn't know how to open... maybe they can open Task Manager. Maybe they can. So yes, I think that this is what the issue is that a lot of these values are like these... They are technical values that don't hold any sort of, like, for example, the value of an iPod is immediate. You can instantly tell what the value of an iPod is, instantaneously. Whenever you had the iPhone come out, the value of the iPhone was immediately evident. It was like, it is literally fucking right in front of you. That's the value of the iPhone. And the value of these Microsoft products are like these, again, these esoteric values to things that most consumers don't even know about. Like if you ask somebody what is RAM? How much RAM does your PC have? Here's a great question. Let's say you go to Walmart and you ask 10 people, and let's assume every single one of them owns a PC. How many of them would know how much RAM their PC had? Out of 10. Probably one, right? That's the problem. Is that Apple can market to those 9 people with something like the iPod or the iPhone immediately. That's why Apple, in my opinion, I think Microsoft makes great products in a lot of cases, but they get beat out by Apple because Apple's brand messaging is fucking infinitely better. It's so much better, it's not even funny. Yeah, Apple is fashion. Well, Apple also has had great products too. Let's keep in mind, Apple has had some like industry-defining products. You're both right and wrong. Most people don't know about the features. It'll break through soon. Edge has been insane. Very, very advanced AI built in for free. Yeah, I think that that's great. But here's the problem is that I think that right now this is also another issue that AI is having, is that a lot of people are distrustful of AI. And I think the reason why people are distrustful and not, actually, I think the better word is not confident in AI. And the reason why I think people are not confident in AI is because a lot of AIs will not fulfill certain functions. Like, for example, AI won't fulfill what's the better race, white people or black people or something like that. I think that unless AI will literally fulfill basically any function that you want, as long as it's not illegal, people will not have confidence in it. Because people do not want AI to be a tool to tell people what to think and how to think. People only want AI to do what it's told. That's it. They don't care about what the values of the company are. They don't care about anything else. And I think that also it's like a mining canary. And it's a mining canary in a way that I think that people see that, People see that the AI isn't giving accurate answers to one thing. And then it makes them think to themselves, oh, I wonder what it's also not giving accurate answers to. And that's whenever the distrust happens, and that's whenever the confidence is lost. And I feel like that's the main issue more than anything else. Does that make sense? They try to offload the server load and the cloud load to the local user so they can save on cloud computing stuff with AI. Those same people would eat up anything that the TV news tell them, or the first headline. Yeah, sure. Have you seen a video of Copilot helping someone play Minecraft in real time? Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of videos like that. And I'm sure Copilot is extremely useful. But the issue is that I think that people will not adopt AI and be ready to use AI until people feel like they have complete control over everything and all of their autonomy inside of AI. I think that's the big issue right now. Yes, it's a fancy gimmick. Yes, it's a fancy gimmick that's really great for creating porn. And other than that, I just don't really see it being there. Asmongold, Google has the same problem. I look up answers on Reddit more than Google. Well, here's the reason why Google isn't losing as much market share. Because there is no alternative to Google. Whereas AI has like 5 alternatives. And Chrome is the reigning champion. So like, again, like the reason why Google Chrome took over is because Google Chrome, I feel like it was way better than Firefox, right? Everybody said it was better than Firefox. And also Google made it, and Google started Chrome whenever Google was still like considered like the gold standard of tech companies, right? It was before there was any sort of like 2016 election shit or whatever, right? It was. Like Chrome, whenever it came out, was like it was the best one, right? Microsoft dominates the business part of the world, companies, etc. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Microsoft won't let that happen. They won't let you make your picture ask anything that isn't PG. No swords, no blood or battle or anything. Yeah, well, here's the thing, is that would you trust an AI that wouldn't show you things? I wouldn't. I would not trust an AI. And I think that people don't trust Google as much anymore now either. Like, I think Google has absolutely enshittified their service. Now, Google is still the best search engine, I would say, right now. That's my opinion. I think it's still the best search engine. However, it used to be the only search engine. And now I just think it's the best search engine. Ask Jeeves, bro. Yeah, exactly. Bing is by far better these days. Yeah. And so as soon as people feel like, because a search engine should search for things. And if it's intentionally not showing you certain things, then it's not fulfilling its role. It's literally that simple. Did anyone ever trust Google, Microsoft, or Apple? People usually trusted them to do a good job. That's really what I think people trusted Google to do. I don't think people ever really trusted Google, but they trusted their ability to create a good product that worked. And everybody always thought Google was spying on them. Like, let me give you an example. Google takes over world Simpsons year. Where is this? Fuck, I guess I might not. Damn it. I thought it'd be easier for me to find it. Well, anyway, The Simpsons made a joke about Google taking over the Earth in like the mid-2000s, right? It was super, super early. So, yeah, it's extremely common. Mandela effect? Google it? Yeah, maybe I'll be able to. But all I'm saying is that kind of stuff is very, very popular. They've always thought that. But people didn't care because the product was so good. That's the difference.